Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin, page 64, B. Top of the page with the words Amar Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai says, Eno chayav ad shimserenu lecha morin sheneemar mizarcha lo sitin avim. Rabbi Yanai says one is not liable for passing his child through fire to Molech unless he hands him over to the priests of Molech, as it is stated, and you shall not give any of your offspring to pass them over to Molech, Leviticus 18:21, which indicates that the prohibition is to give, meaning to hand the child over to the priests. Tanya nami hachi yachol hevi v'lo masa yehe chayav tamar lo ima lo siten masar lemoilech v'lo hevir yachol yehe chayav tamar lo ima להעביר מסר והעביר שלא למולך יכול יהיה חייב תאמר למולך. This is also taught in Braita. One might have thought that one who passed his child through the fire but did not hand him over to the priests of Molech should be liable. Therefore the verse states, you shall not give. If one handed over his son to the priests of Molech, but did not pass him through the fire, one might have thought that he should be liable. Therefore, the verse states to pass, indicating that passing is also necessary. If one handed over the child and passed him through fire, not to priests of Molech, but rather to priests of another object of idol worship, one might have thought that he should be liable. Therefore, the verse states to Molech, Masar v'hevi l'moilech v'loi bo'esh yachol yehi chayev ne'emar kan le'ha'avir v'ne'emar le'halan lo yimatzeh b'cha ma'avir b'no u'bito ba'esh ma le'halan ba'esh af kan ba'esh u'ma kan molech af le'halan molech. If one handed over his child and passed him over to the priests of Molech, but did not pass him through the fire, one might have thought that he should be liable. It is stated here in the verse to pass, and it is stated there in another verse, there shall not be found among you one who passes his son or his daughter through the fire, Deuteronomy 18:10. Just as there the verse is referring to passing one's child through fire, so to here the reference is to passing one's child through fire, just as here the verse is referring to one who passes his child over to the priests of Molech. So to there the reference is to Molech alone, excluding any other object of idol worship. Amar Rav Acha borei dirove העביר כל זרעו פטור שנאמר מזרעך ולא kol zaracha. Rav Acha, son of Rava, says, one who passed all his offspring through fire to the priest of Molech is exempt, as it is stated, of your offspring, indicating but not all of your offspring. Boy Ravashi Hevirusame Mahu Yashin Mahu Ben Bino Ben Bito Mahu. Ravashi raises a dilemma. If one passed through the fire a child of his who is blind, what is the halacha? Furthermore, if one passed his child through the fire while the child was asleep, what is the halacha? Does the child need to be capable of passing through on his own, or is that not necessary? Likewise, if one passed his son or daughter's son, his son's son, his grandson, in other words, or his daughter's son, his maternal grandson, his daughter's grandson, what is the halacha? Deep short, biha. Chada, Britanya, Ki Mizaro Natan Lemolech, Ma Tamar Lomer, Lefi Sheneemar, Lo Yimatzeh Becha Ma'avir Beno Ubito B'esh. Ve'en li ela beno ubito, ben beno uben bito minayin, Tamar Lomer, Betito Mizaro. The Gemara answers resolve at least one of these dilemmas. As is taught in Braita, why must the verse state because he has given of his offspring to Molech, Leviticus 20 verse 3, what is added by this statement? Because it is stated, there shall not be found among you who passes his son or his daughters to the fire. I've already derived only that it is prohibited for one to pass his son or daughter. From where do I derive that one who passes his son's son or his daughter's son is also liable? The verse states, when he gives of his offspring, Leviticus 20 verse 4. The term offspring indicates that grandchildren are included. This resolves one of Rav Ashi's dilemmas. Tanabetach biki mizaro v'salek bebito mizaro. The Gemara asks, the Tana began his exposition with the phrase in the verse, because he has given his offspring, and ended with an interpretation of the phrase in the verse, when he gives his offspring. Why did he cite two different verses as proof for this halachic statement? Drash achrinahu zaro eni ela zera kosher zera pasul b'nayin tabaloin mar b'tito mizaro. The Gemara answers, the second verse is stated in the Braita for a different exposition, which was omitted from the Braita, and reads as follows. From the term in the verse his offspring, I've derived only that one is liable for passing through the fire, his offspring of unflawed lineage, meaning his descendants from a woman whom he was permitted to marry. From where do I derive that one is liable for passing through the fire his offspring of flawed lineage, let's say a mamzer as well? The verse states, when he gives of his offspring, indicating that one is liable for passing any of his offspring. Amar Rav Yehuda, enu chayav ad she'yabirenu derech havara, hechidami. Amar Abaya, shraga, dirivnein bimse'e nura mehagisa, b'nura mehagisa. Rav Yehuda says, one is not liable for passing his child through fire to Moloch unless he passes him in the typical manner of passing. The Gemara asks, what is considered the typical manner of passing? Abaye says the child is taken by foot along a lattice work of bricks in the middle between the fire on this side and the fire on that side. Rava Amar Kemashvarta de Puraya. Rava says the typical manner of passing is like the leaps of children on Purim. It was customary to light a bonfire on Purim inside a pit, and the children would amuse themselves by leaping over the bonfires. That's real safe. Passing one's child over a fire in such a fashion is the typical manner of passing a child over to Moloch. Okay, Tanya Kvasidrova Kimashvarta de Puraya. That doesn't make sense to me. First of all, it's super dangerous. Kids jumping over a fire. Strange. Okay. Tanya Kavasidrova Eno Chayv Ad Shaviro Derech Havara Viru Beregel Pater. The Gemara comments, it is taught in a Braita in accordance with the opinion of Rava. One is not liable unless he passes his child through the fire in the typical manner of passing, If he passed her by foot, he is exempt. Evidently, the passing ritual is performed by leaping and not by walking. הכיצד בנו וביתו חייב, אבי ואמו, אחי ואחותו פטור. העביר עצמו פטור. דברי רבי אלעזר בן רבי שמעון חייב. The Braita continues, and one is liable only for passing his descendants. How so? If one passed his son or his daughter through the fire, he is liable. If he passed his father or his mother, his brother or his sister, he is exempt. If one passed himself over to Malach, he is exempt. And Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Shimon, deems him liable. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, Omer, the Malach Chayev, Shalom Malach Patur. But one who passes his child through fire to Malach, and one who passes his child through fire to other objects of idol worship are liable. Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Shimon, says, if he passes him over to Molech, he is liable, but if he transfers him to another object of idol worship, not to Molech, he is exempt. Okay. Amar Ula. My time of the Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. Amar Kra lo yimatzeh becha be'atzmecha. Ula says, what is the reason for the opinion of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, son of Rabbi Shimon, who deems one who passes himself over to Molech liable? The verse states, there shall be not found among you one who passes his son or his daughter through the fire. Deuteronomy 18:10. The term among you is interpreted homiletically to mean among yourself. But it's not. Avi does so. Vedas Avi Shelo Kodemis. I'm reading my time. Rav Yehuda Amar Kra Efes Ki Lo Yebecha Evyon Shelo Kodemet Shelo Dam. The Gemara asks, do the rabbis not interpret the term among you as referring to itself? But didn't we learn in a Mishnah in Bava Metzia 37a, if one finds his lost item and his father lost him, taking care of his own lost item takes precedence. And we said in discussion in that Mishnah, what is the reason for this? Yehoshua said that is because the verse states only so that there should be no needing among you. Deuteronomy 15:4, meaning that one must avoid becoming needy. Therefore, if one lost an item, tending to his lost item takes precedence over tending to the item of any other person. Apparently, this interpretation of the verse is based on the understanding that the term among you is referring to oneself, meaning one must take care of himself so that he will not become needy. Hasami Efes. The Gemara answers, and there, in that discussion, the halacha is derived from the word only, a limiting term, which is interpreted to mean that in preventing destitution, one should begin with himself. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, Sheloi Karis, Yossi, son of Rabbi Chanina, says, why is the punishment of excision from the world to come mentioned 3 times with regard to idol worship? It is stated twice with regard to the rituals of Molech. In the verse, I will also set my face against that man, and I will excise him from his people. Leviticus 20, verse 3. And in the verse, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will excise him. Deuteronomy 20, verse 5. The third mention of karet is with regard to one who blasphemes. That person blasphemes the Lord, and that soul shall be excised from among his people. Numbers 15:13. One mention is for worshipping an idol in its typical manner of worship, and one mention is for worshipping an idol not in its typical manner, and one mention is for performing the ritual of Molech. Molech avodah zari karas b'molech lavali maver b'no shel gedarka. The Gemara asks, and according to the one who says that Molech is an object of idol worship, why do I need a special mention of karet with regard to Molech? The Gemara answers, it is necessary for the case of one who passes his child through the fire to an idol other than Molech, which this is not his typical manner of worship. According to this position, one who passes his son through fire to any idols is liable. The Gemara asks, and according to the one who says that the verse concerning one who blasphemes is referring to one who engages in idol worship and not be one who curses God, why do I need karet to mention with regard to one who blasphemes? Tanya, tikares, tikares, tikares lamaba. The Gemara answers that it is necessary for that which is taught in Braita. It is stated with regard to one who blasphemes, because he has despised the word of the Lord and has breached his mitzvah. That soul shall be excised. His iniquity shall be upon him. Numbers 15:13. The phrase karet tikaret is interpreted as follows: Hikaret, the sinner is excised in this world, meaning that he will die prematurely. Tikaret, the sinner is executed in the world to come, and he will not merit everlasting life. This is a statement of Rabbi Akiva. Amar Bishmoel v'haloi kvar nebar v'nichnesa v'chi shlosha oilomim yesh ela v'nichnata be'olam hazeh hikaret l'olam haba tikaret divrei Torah v'lashon b'nei adam. The Rabbi Shmuel said to him, but isn't it already stated in the previous verse, he blasphemes the Lord, that soul shall be excised? Are there three souls? Rather, the term in the verse "Meikaret" is derived from the sinner excised world from the term "Hikaret." It is derived from the sinner is excised in the world to come, and nothing is derived from the double verb "Hikaret," as the Torah spoke in the language of people. All right, that's the whole daf.